Okay, YouTube 14.5 is officially out in EN, and so I'm going to be talking about 2 new Ubers. One of them being, what the fuck is your name? Scanda. Scanda. It's a weird-ass rusher that weakens with a wave. A waving rusher with a conjure is... I mean, it sounds really good, because it is pretty good. However, I think a lot of people might be either overestimating it or they are overlooking its problems as a rusher. As a rusher, it has 80,000 HP. That's good. 80,000 HP is good. 20,000 damage per hit, that's not good. But with the wave, 40,000 damage per hit, that's okay. 40,000 damage per hit is okay. And then it has a weaken, 4-second weaken. Sure, that's good, fine. But it's only against Red, Angel, and Alien. It's only against 3 traits. It's only 3 traits. And then its recharge time is 90 seconds. That's pretty good. Conjure, 3-second freeze. That's pretty good. There's a lot of pretty good things about him. 200 range on a rusher, not bad. But then you look at the glaring weakness that is 10-second attack frequency and 3 knockbacks. I understand it's like a weaken on command, but against only 3 targeted traits, that 3 of which that really aren't needed to be weakened, Reds, Aliens, and Angels. Reds are so power crept that weakening them is basically useless. Aliens are so destroyed by their own treasures that you can brute force them for the most part, and even if weakening them does help out, well, weakening them for 4 seconds, it could be nice. It could be nice. It could be nice. But you're better off brute forcing them, just like Reds. And then Angels. Angels aren't as power crept as the other 2. And weakening them could be good. That's admittedly. But with only 200 range in a weaken, or in a wave, it's got good pierce. So it actually has a good weaken. However, 3 knockbacks and 10-second attack frequency. In the later ends of the game, this guy is only getting 3 hits in. Because he hits once, gets knocked back. Hits once, gets knocked back. Hits once, dies. That's not what you want from a rusher. You want a rusher to have like at least 5 knockbacks in order to get plenty of hits in. But this guy, he has a 10-second attack frequency, which means that he's not going to... It's not likely that he's actually going to get multiple hits in per knockback. It's not likely. It's possible, not likely. And even if he does, he's going to be staying in the back for a while thanks to it. And if he does stay alive too long, oops, can't get another one out because of the conjure. But my main problem is the 3 knockbacks. He has a lot of HP. He has a lot of bulk. A bulk on a rusher is not terrible, but it's more often than not bad. You would rather have more knockbacks on a rusher, simply to get more attacks in, especially since it's a weaken that doesn't even have 50% uptime. You underestimate the rusher mindset. The rusher mindset is sacrifice this guy for 1 singular weaken. That's your mindset. So I get that you can use him with Bahamut, right? You can use him with Bahamut, but also consider this. His 4,000 cost. If you want to put them out together, that's 8,500 cost. The reason why ID and Doron is so good is because it's only like 6k, and Doron has a freeze for like way longer than 4 seconds. And he also has a much wider, well, maybe not much wider AoE, but he also has quicker recharge time. Like, I think almost half, like maybe 50 seconds, I think. And also provides benefits that freeze is better than weaken, obviously. You see 168k damage per hit potential? What do you mean by per hit? This is 40,000 damage per hit. This is 40,000 damage per hit right here. Even with the wave, 400,000, or not 400,000, 40,000. Where are you getting 168k damage from? Then save before hitting the enemy base? I think you're overestimating how many stages actually let you hit the enemy base before the boss comes out. If you think about it, I mean, I guess that is true. And thanks to treasures, it is also longer. But even if it is 7 seconds, I mean, if he gets knocked back and weakens, knockback and weaken, knockback, weaken. So like that's like, since rushers typically get knocked back so quickly, even if it was like the constant, where are you getting the times 4.2 from? Where are you getting the times 4.2 from? Why are you multiplying that like that? Where are you getting your numbers from? Wave is simply times 2. And then this allows for him to have at least 3 attacks if he actually maximizes his damage from knockbacks. So, like, that's 40,000, 80,000, 120,000. And that's throughout his entire lifespan, not in one hit. So, if we want to compare him to another rusher, I'm not going to get to the new EVA unit yet. Not even talking about one of the like top tier rushers. We're going to talk about not even true formed Oni Earthshaker. We're going to talk about non-true formed Oni Earthshaker. 8 knockbacks, half the amount of HP, naturally 20,000 damage per hit. Okay, so the same amount of damage per hit as Scanda, right? About less actually. Lower recharge time, much quicker attack frequency. So if it knocks something back, then it can actually wait for only 4 seconds instead of 10. It has less than half the attack frequency. And then it also has Omni, not to mention. And then it can, go back in. But even if it does get hit, 8 knockbacks. Which some of them will probably get skipped. But, how much does it cost? Less. It costs less than Scanda, by the way. With lower everything, better everything. Except for the damage. The damage in the non-true form version is, and even in true form, is generally worse. However, massive damage. So against its targeted traits, that is 60,000 damage per hit against traitless and 80,000 damage per hit against angels with treasures, of course. That is far more damage per lifespan than Scanda has. And the main difference there is lifespan. If Scanda had the lifespan of Isun Boshi, the weekend would be really valuable. However, 3 knockbacks on a rusher is not good. He can somewhat tank to secure a hit. That's a double-sided sword that I would rather not have, because I'd rather be able to benefit more from Thunderbolt Cannon, since that is something I can provide for. I cannot provide extra knockbacks for this guy. You're comparing a general rusher against a specialty rusher? Even without the massive damage, everything else is better. That's the thing. Even without the massive damage, everything else is better. Except for the HP. The HP, aside from the base damage, against generally speaking, is the only thing that is worse. The damage is only slightly worse, even generally. Wait, no, never mind. It's half as bad. Sorry. Half as bad, generally speaking. And that's not in true form. With true form, it's not nearly half as bad. But remember, Omni Strike as well, with more than double the knockbacks. The music is fitting with the hell. It really is fitting. Not to mention lower recharge time. Not to mention lower recharge time, lower cost, and Omni Strike, and all immunities. Wait, what immunities does this guy have? Oh, he only has Sage Flare. Not even any immunities. Also, you're saying this guy's a generalist rusher? He is also a specialist rusher. What the fuck are you on about? He targets Red Angel and Alien. It's not like he targets anything with a trait. He targets 3 traits. And 3 traits that don't matter. What do you mean comparing a generalist to a specialist? He is a specialist. What do you want about? What, am I going crazy? Like, chat. This guy is being hyped up a lot, and I love him. I love his design. A Conjuring Rusher is something that I've been looking forward to seeing for so long. But he's just... based off of his stats alone, I cannot justify saying he is... like, I may even say he's worse than Zeus. Of course, he is a rusher, and rusher strat is much more valuable than whatever the fuck Zeus does. So he's probably better than Zeus, but that's it. Everything else is better than him. Even Poseidon, which Poseidon is a really good rusher, to be fair, but I would say Poseidon clears this guy as an almighty rusher. So I get that there's hype from a new almighty. I do get it, but he is not that good. He's not going to be very useful. I'm going to be so honest with you. Unless I'm proved wrong, the only value he'll really have is being a rusher with Conjure. That's really his only value he'll have, from what I can tell. Feel free to prove me wrong, but from what I can tell, that's his only value is his Conjure, which is 3 seconds. So it's like basically a Thunderbolt cannon. His Conjure is by far the best thing he has. That's something I actually decided whenever I first saw him, is that his Conjure is by far the best thing he has. But anyways, now that I'm done with that rant, Evangelion brought in a new Uber. By the way, which true form should I get first? Pizza Cat, Catalyte, or Psycho Cat? Into the Future Chapter 2 Moon? Probably Catalyte. Psycho Cat doesn't really need a true form, because the main thing you want from Psycho Cat is range. And true form only provides a longer slow. And Catalyte just gets speed and damage. It doesn't actually boost its HP, but it does lower its cost, which can be nice. Pizza probably has the biggest overall buff from evolved form to true form. But anyways, so this Eva unit, I don't think he's gotten a lot of attention. I think it's mostly the legendary that's gotten a lot of attention. But looking at the Uber, right? 4k DPS, 40,000 HP doesn't really seem that crazy, right? 400 range. However, so Catalyte then Pizza for true forms? Probably, since Catalyte's also much cheaper. But you look at these, you look at everything. 3-second freeze with 50% chance, immunities to wave and knockback. Not bad immunities, not bad stats. 3 knockbacks. Like, it's nothing special, kind of comparable to Tengu. 30-second recharge time. 30-second recharge time on a unit with more than 400 range, and freezing against Traitless and Angel. The freezing against Angel is not really that big of a deal, because we have things like Momotaro that does it better. Well, I'd say it's comparable to Momotaro, actually. But the fact that it also freezes Traitless and has only a 30-second recharge time with good survivability, like, the HP is kind of lackluster. Since, apparently 40,000 HP is low, according to D'Artagnan haters. But 3 knockbacks isn't bad with 410 standing range. Like, 4,000 DPS and no additional effects aren't anything special. That's not anything special, don't get me wrong, but less than 2-second attack, 4 swing, which isn't bad. It's so stackable. That's what I'm noticing. And a lot of people overlook stackability just because they like rushing things, but whenever it comes to, like, just general, like, a general Uber, this guy's really good. Comparable to Tarun, I would say, who is also a pretty good general Uber. For the exact same reason. Except with double the recharge time and lower general DPS. Except for Savage Blow, so the Savage Blow helps a lot. But, worse immunities, because, immunity to knockback kind of sucks, but immune to wave is actually way more valuable than pretty much any other immunity. I'm late, but yellow, hello. But lower base HP, like, considering this guy has half the recharge time of Tarun and has comparable stats, I think this Ava unit might be really good, from what I can tell. Kind of like if Paris Cat was an Uber. Yeah, I can see it. Like, he's not spammable by any means, but he is, like, I'd say that he's more like the King Dragon of Ubers. You know what I mean? Like, relatively low. Wait, let's compare it to King Dragon. Hold up. Lizard. What's the recharge time? Okay, so double the recharge time of Lizard, or of King Dragon Cat. But, like, also area attack compared to single attack, you know? And also slightly longer standing range. Slightly more HP. Similar survivability. Longer attack frequency. Like, but, like, also it has a niche. So, like, it's like a specialist version of Lizard Cat that's an Uber. It's like an Uber version of Lizard Cat. Yeah, and less speed. But, like, it literally is an Uber version of Lizard. And that's not a bad thing at all. As somebody that has always loved King Dragon, you know, that's not bad. That's actually really good. I feel like this will be one of the better Eva Ubers. I'm gonna lock in on trying to get Courier and getting Catalyte and Pizza Cat true form. Good luck with that. But yeah, like, he looks really good. Like, this YouTube video has two halves of me on opposite sides of the spectrum. On one side, I'm over criticizing an Uber, and on the other, I am over glazing an Uber. It's crazy, but, like, I genuinely feel like this could be a really good Uber. Unfortunately, Rusher strat is stronger than backliner strat, or, like, stacking strat nowadays. But this is still really good. Having backliners is still of huge value. And so I don't think that's something to overlook. Just because it's not a rusher. But, like, it's really good. And so that's my thoughts on that. But I think I've talked enough about them both. Is there anything else for me to really say about them? I mean, they're both new, so we don't really have much to say about them. Like, there could be, you know, strats like Gotcha Jesus saying destroying Clyanel using the new Almighty. It's probably possible, but I don't know what you mean by destroy. But weakening Angels and No Plan A might be good. But remember, every Uber has its niche usage. We're talking about, like, throughout the entire game, you know? Like, we're not just talking about the niche usage that some Ubers have. Because even, like, Hermit, even Huge Hermit probably has some sort of niche usage and, like, into the future, you know what I mean? Like, if you think about it, Dragon Cat has the best variants in the game. True. Because Dragon actually has some really good variants. I mean, I still think overall... Well, actually, thanks to Little King Dragon, I actually do think it has the best variants because Brainwash is immune to Wave, Normal is really good throughout the entirety of early game, Manic King Dragon is really good just for a stackable backliner, and Little King Dragon is really good for later game whenever you talent it with immunity to Surge and Little Wave. I mean, yeah, the Dragons have some really good variants, none of them are really bad. Yeah. They do have some of the best variants. I mean, I don't think I have anything else to say. So, like, and I've been streaming long enough, so both YouTube and Twitch, please do come back for more. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace. Wait, did I do my entire outro? If you did enjoy. I didn't say if you did enjoy. Shit, whatever. You understood what I meant. Bye.